Welcome to another episode of Compa Financial Therapy. I am Danny.
And I am Mike, and we're your compadres with financial stories. We also have Max today. He's going to be a regular, huh?
Well, he's going to be a regular.
Okay.
He's our producer.
All right, that's true.
You know, he has to be here. He's the one that handles all this technology for us.
That's true. All right. Do I need to introduce him, future? Or?
Nah, we just, I don't know.
How's it going?
Max is here. Yeah. No,
He's
I'm
here.
just kidding.
He's always here. He'll be
does
the ghost in the site.
See. The ghost voice that just popped up.
Talking about ghosts. Halloween coming up.
That's true.
Yeah.
You going to dress up?
I'm always dressed up, man.
As what?
I don't know.
Businessman. Okay. That'll work.
I'm Mr. Rogers.
That's true.
With the sweater.
My neighbor. Oh, speaking of neighbors, I got a new neighbor.
Oh, yeah? Did you meet it?
The whole family.
Is that the name?
The hoe. Hoe.
The hoe?
So every morning when the wife is watering her grass, I'll be like, hey, ho. So I don't think she knows what the hell I'm telling her, but
I don't know.
yeah.
The husband's going to say, what are you calling my wife a hoe?
That's her last name.
Oh, I never heard of that last name.
Ay, ellos. That's on them.
Yeah, I don't know. If I see you with a black guy next time, I know what happened.
A little shiner right here. Yeah.
Se te va a salir los hood.
Yeah.
Ni modo.
And then we'll refer him to this podcast, okay? You'll understand where the hell we're coming from. Oh, man.
So how's it going, man?
It's been good. It's been
Good?
chill. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
So did you think about, what would you tell your younger you?
My younger me.
Your younger you. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Like,
So it's kind of...
that's a tough one, I think.
It is.
And, well, the reason we're doing it, I think we should say why we're doing to the younger you is because I think the best way of people to learn from somebody else is their mistakes. And I think by us describing the good stuff and the bad stuff that we did, as far as business-wise, financial-wise, and getting out of the hood, I think it'll be a good lesson of what we did right, what we did wrong, and the best way of doing it, I think, is what would we advise ourselves or our kids?
Right.
Right?
It is, and I like this topic because it's good information that we can share with other people from experience, right? From our experiences now that we're older. You're 42, I'm like 20-something, so I can tell somebody younger.
If you're 20-something, that means you started investing and licking your tents.
But yeah, I like this one. But here's my.
Well, we'll find out at the end. See what advice you give yourself. Maybe it might be nothing.
That's true. Might be nothing. Just
Right there.
keep living life, YOLO. Waste all your money, you idiot. All right, look at that. But one of the things that I struggle with. So I talk to people, tell them about finances, this and that. Even my kids, les digo. My youngest, he don't care. He's like, yeah, whatever, Dad. Just buy me
Right now, but you think he's not listening? Oh, I bet you he is listening. One day you're gonna realize, like, oh, he's following the stuff I've been telling him.
He's not listening. I'm gonna tell you why. He goes into debt every month with me.
Why? Well, you're like a loan shark to your own kids?
To my own kid, yeah. I gotta teach him what's right and what's wrong and how to do it. His credit score is kind of okay right now.
So if he doesn't pay, what you beat him up, and what's the deal?
I garnish his wages. The other part, I start taking away from his stuff, like I repossess his maybe his.
Wait. Let's go back. Garnish wages. So that means you're paying child labor.
Yes.
Híjole.
Straight up. I'm not gonna lie about it. So my son gets an allowance. Pretty much, it's not a lot. It's like $7 a month, so he can buy.
So child labor, and you didn't even pay minimum wage.
Not even minimum wage. No.
Man, you're
Child
worse
labor.
than.
It's minimum wage in other countries, right?
This is America, man. You
This is
got to pay at
America.
least $15.
Hey, he didn't apply. Whatever.
Oh.
He's got health care. He's got food, shelter, clothing. Dude, that little kid has a freaking 50-inch TV in his room, wall mounted.
That's requirement here in the U.S.
That's true.
Yeah.
First world problems, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pay a minimum wage, and then
Less than minimum
wage,
wage,
and then
I garnish his wages. I repossess some of the stuff. Sometimes he gets locked up by being grounded, right? And then sometimes I got to take it a little mafia style.
what is that?
We'll leave it at that, Danny.
Oh.
Some things don't need to be said.
Wow,
With Child Protective Services getting involved.
you're a tough dad.
I have to be.
Tough love.
I have two daughters. You have to be tough, So my son, he the way he goes into debt is every so often be like, Dad, can I get a video game and I'll pay you back? And sometimes it takes like 2-3 months while he's recycling, and then he'll pay me back from the recycling. He does okay recycling. But as we talked about before, He's just getting back the money that we paid up front at the store.
The CRV.
But he's the one that's collecting everything, putting them away. And today he did ask me, he's like, Dad, can I get $20 to buy a video game? I'll pay you back when I take my cans. I'm like, okay. So he goes into debt. No hace caso.
But at least he pays you back.
He does. He does pay me back.
So,
And
what's the interest rate? Maybe that's why he goes, look, I'm not paying any interest rate. So you think he's not listening. He's like, shit, I get free money, no interest rate. He might be smart.
I think you're right. Because the other thing he does, he gets 0% interest rate.
Yeah, maybe he borrows it, he lends it out, gets some interest, and maybe he's making money on the side. You don't even know.
And maybe he is learning from that, you know? Wait a minute. This fool right
Maybe
here,
he's conning you.
he's a good negotiator.
See?
He's a good negotiator. That fool will tell you something like, hey, Dad, if I do this, well, can we do this? And this and this. And they're like, this guy, dude. He comes up with stuff off the top of his head and quick-witted to tell me something.
That's good.
Yeah.
He'll be a good businessman.
Yeah. Yesterday, I got a funny story to show you. So he plays baseball. And yesterday, he was doing a baseball game. And it was the third strike drop or something like that. Algo se llama así. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's when they get the third strike and if the catcher drops the ball, the batter can run to first base.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay. So he did that. And there was, he ran to first base, got on it quick. And the umpire called him out. This guy starts arguing with the umpire. He's like, why am I out? He's like, it was a third strike drop, and I ran to base. And he's going like this in front of everybody, like, hey, with his hands. And the umpire...
Threw him out.
No. But then there's a story to that part. So the umpire told him, like, you're out because the base was occupied. He's like, the base wasn't occupied. The guy from first base, he ran to second base, so there was nobody there. That's why I ran. But I had to explain to him afterwards. I told my wife, I said, I don't think he understands that. Occupied means there was already somebody there. He's thinking it wasn't occupied because that guy there
moved.
ran. So it's open.
Well, maybe it wasn't explained to him the right way.
It wasn't explained to him.
He might be a lawyer.
So we told him afterwards.
Technicality.
Like, this guy's smart, dude. And then he tells us afterwards, we're like, why were you arguing with the blue? He's like, well, they can't eject you here, so, you know, I just told him. I'm like, bro, you can't be doing that. This guy.
The good thing is that he's learning to speak up and defend himself when...
Yeah. So I did like that.
As long as he does it respectfully.
So that's what we talked about. I said, Lucas, you can't be arguing, right? You can't be arguing with them. Just let them know. I said, but I'm glad you advocated for yourself, try to figure out what was going on, and have them explain it to you. Good for you. You're at this age, and they don't explain, so figure it out. He's like, all right. I said, but don't argue, son. Ask. He's like, all right.
Hey, kids.
So maybe I'm thinking he's not listening, but I think he's listening.
No, he's listening. Kids are listening.
Yeah.
I used to think that for many years, and then one time I was talking to my son, and it turns out that he was listening.
Yeah.
And he is listening. So.
And he's smart. If he knows my son, if he knows 0% interest, he's like, this fool ain't charging me extra.
Yeah, exactly.
But every so often he goes into debt with me. I'll pay you back.
Mm-hmm. What about your other kid? Same thing?
No,
do they have the same rules, same mafia rules, same?
No, because that's my daughter. That's my daughter.
Wait a minute. Now we're not talking about discrimination.
I'm not discriminating.
Treat them both the same. It's typical raza.
Yeah.
You know, you treat the girls like a princess, and then you treat the boys like, no.
You're a convict. No, mijo. I'm gonna repossess your Xbox right now, your TV.
That's not right. The society wants to treat men and women the same. You got to treat your kids the same.
Yeah.
I know we'll probably get a lot of slack off of this, but yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
My daughter doesn't go to debt. She's pretty smart about handling her money. Yeah, she's got a bank account, tiene su dinero ahí, and every so often she'll be like, hey, can I spend it and this and that? And every so often I tell her, hey, give me money so I can invest it for you because I want you to be with your money invested in the stock market. If I put it for you, you're not going to care.
Yeah.
But if you put money, you're going to care. So sometimes I'll give me $20. And I invest it for her. She'll do it.
That's good. Has she seen her money grow?
She has. And then for a while, she had a good amount of money. And then she got a little bit older. She's like, hey, I want to spend it. I want to buy Christmas gifts.
Well, I mean, you got to learn how to invest, and use it a little bit. You know, enjoy it because we never know, how long we're going to be around. So you got to find that nice balance where you invest and you.
That's true.
Yeah.
So she's doing good. He's doing good. Right now, I think he owes me $20. Before this show, he contacted me.
Take a long time. Maybe you only get $7.
Well,
you got to raise that. I'm going to speak up for him. I'm going to talk to him next time I see him. Hey, you got to ask for a raise.
So here's why he gets only $7. No, I get it. He will ask me. He will hate it. He only gets $7 because then he has other stuff. He's got subscriptions on his Xbox, get Gold, Live, whatever the hell.
And you pay for the subscription?
And I pay for it.
Oh, so there's more to that.
So there's like $14 plus a 7, that's 21, carry the 1 plus tax, whatever.
Now, do both kids get the same amount of allowance?
My daughter doesn't ask for anything.
Oh, she's not in the same plan?
She's not in the same plan. She doesn't use Xbox now. But
No. But I mean in the allowance plan.
No, she doesn't. No allowance for her.
So what happens? She just like has to go beg in the street or what?
She hasn't gotten that far yet, but I think that next year when she gets a little bit older, she might have to be on the streets. But she gets food, shelter, clothing también.
So why does he have an allowance and she doesn't?
He asked for it. She didn't. But here's the thing: if she asks for something, she gets it.
So I guess she's smarter then because she figured, hey, if I get an allowance, I only get X amount. And the other way, it's an open book.
She said she played a song for me one time. She's like, Dad, I'm going to dedicate this song to you. Or you should dedicate this song to me. I said, which one is it? She's like, I'm your puppet. Because she's got me all wrapped up. Do you want something? She gets it. But she also does a lot of stuff. Like she feeds the dogs every single day. She picks up the dog crap however often she does it, which is like once a month. And then she feeds the cats. I mean, they do stuff around the house. So
the neighbors are going to think you have a dead animal back there.
I have a little sweatshop going around. Sweatshop with these two kids. But they're good. She wants something, she gets it. She doesn't ask for something. She doesn't ask for much often.
But she's going to resent you later on because, well, he had an allowance. I never had an allowance. It should be the same.
Might have to start another podcast.
Because then they're going to feel like they're going to have to compete against each other. At least that's my opinion.
That might be good, though.
No, I don't think you should compete against your own siblings because then it sets a siblings rivalry, and no, you don't want to do that.
Might be good.
No.
Let's do a podcast in like 5 years, and we'll see. We'll talk about it. Hey, ¿qué pasó with your kids? Like, still on the $7 allowance.
5 years. And after, dude, you're really a slave driver.
Okay, slave wages,
And she's still on a zero open book.
Zero allowance.
Zero allowance.
Nada. No, but she gets stuff. She does get stuff. Like she'll be like, hey, I want to go to this concert. All right, let's go to this concert.
Yeah, she gets a lot more than.
She gets is more. But
the names, people.
Yeah, I know.
See,
I write it 3. I got 3.
I'm writing down the times. With the thing with my son is that he still owes me. He's not even supposed to be getting $7 because we took his friend to the Dodgers game. He said, Dad, don't pay me my allowance. I'll go ahead and pay for him. I said, okay, that's gonna take you like a full year for $7. He's like, don't worry about it, Dad. I got it. I said, all right.
He's gonna borrow from Mom.
He's probably gonna borrow from somewhere.
I said, Mom, can I have and he'll pay you. And
see, and I had to remind him. He's like, hey, can I get something? I said, you're not even supposed to be getting anything. We went to the Dodger Stadium. ¿Cuándo fuimos? A couple months ago. Like, you've only paid me like $14 from the money that you paid for your friend's ticket. He's like, what? I never said that.
Gotta get in writing now.
That's my next thing with him because he's smart.
He's like, oh, I never said it. Where's proof?
See what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't say it like that, but I know he's thinking like, wait, I never said that. Like, pretty much prove it. There's no proof.
He got you.
Yeah, he's got me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he gets it from.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what would you tell yourself then?
My younger self. No seas naco.
Narco?
Naco.
Oh, narco. Not the narco.
No, I'm not a narco.
We're going to go into the drug dealing now?
Even if I was, I wouldn't admit it. But I think my first thing would be to invest. Invest young. At a young age. Because I started at 33.
But what do you mean by invest? I mean, it's just, like stocks, real estate. I mean, when you're young, you don't have money.
Shit, if I would have invested in real estate when I was younger, obviously it would have been cheaper. But I wouldn't have been able to afford it back then.
Yeah, how would you do it?
Yeah.
So how could you advise that to yourself?
My thing would be to invest in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my thing. As a younger, start investing younger, however much you could, and don't spend on stupid stuff. I spend a lot of money on stupid stuff. A lot of stupid stuff.
Like, what do you mean stupid stuff?
You really want to know?
Well, yeah, let our viewers know.
At
least some examples. What do you consider stupid stuff?
It wasn't stupid at the time, but now that I'm older, I'm like, dude, that was pretty stupid. So when I came back from Iraq, I had a good amount of money. You get paid overseas pay, hazardous pay. I think it's tax free. So the money builds up, and you're out there, you're not buying a lot of stuff. I was. The first time I went to Iraq, I think it was 2003. I was on eBay buying stuff. So when I got back home, it was there for me. I realized I ended up spending like $4,000 on a car system. So
like
I ended
car stereo?
car stereo, the speakers, the bass.
But that's typical people in the barrio. I
Yeah.
mean, the first thing you do, you get your car, buy rims,
See.
buy the speakers, the whole thing. That's typical. And I used to know a guy, you know, a little bit off subject, that in college, he lived in like the barrio in LA, but he had his car really nice. But what he would do every night, he would get home, park it, take all the tires off, and basically he would strip the car, put it in his garage, and then put the cheap tires in there, and then he would leave it in the driveway.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But he knows why he was doing it. You know?
Well, yeah, because otherwise he wouldn't have no tires.
Yeah.
I think he paid like at that time like $500 a rim or something like that.
Sheesh.
And you know that was a lot of money back in 20 years ago. So yeah, he would take everything out and put it in.
Damn.
So yeah, well, personally, I agree. I mean,
But looking back, I was like, dude, that was pretty stupid.
yeah.
Like, it was nice. I enjoyed it. But I was like, dude, that's pretty stupid. Now I'm older. I'm like, dude, if I would have invested as $4,000
Ooh.
in 2003, now we're, what year are we? 2021, I think. Yeah. That's a lot of years. 18 years.
$4,000. That would have been
A good amount.
Good amount.
Yeah.
At least.
Just that 4,000 alone.
Mhm.
That would have been good.
Okay.
Live and learn.
What else would you throw your money away on?
What else did I throw out?
Party.
I used to get myself into a lot of debt. So I'd buy stuff on credit. I think after that, I ended up, after that radio, or before that radio, I ended up buying another radio. And when you're around the military bases, a lot of those places, they charge you. They're willing to give you. They're pretty much throwing the credit at you. You're like, oh, yeah. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude, I'll fucking get credit.
Well, I mean, you got in the hood, what is it, the rent own?
Right.
Those are, you don't find those in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Why is that? Because, you know,
Yeah.
well, oh yeah, well, you don't have bad credit? Boom, here it is. I remember going to one of those stores with a friend. I go, you know, the interest rate was like really high. I go, dude, by the time you finish paying this, you know, you could have bought 3 of those
Yeah.
TVs or VCRs. Yeah, but I really need it. Do you really need it now?
Yeah, you didn't need it.
Can you wait another 2 months and
See.
save up for it? He didn't buy it, but yeah, kind of convinced him not to. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they take advantage of.
They do. They do take advantage of military people. I know they used to do it a lot before. I don't know about now, but they'd even have those check cashing places where you can get a check or a loan. And it's like,
Same thing in the hood. All those are
Yeah.
typical in the neighborhood. You know, you need money? Don't worry, we'll get we got you covered a day or 2 days before your check. But how much you're going to be paying for that?
do you see how much the interest rates were? Have you ever seen them?
Mm-hmm. It's like 20-30%. And some at 50%. I think that's high.
Yeah. And then like on a annual basis, I think it was like 800%. Algo así. And I know because I used to, honestly, I got
You did
myself
that?
caught up in that cycle. Yeah. When I was
Well, yeah. If you go into that, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
Because once you get your first loan, getting out is very
hard.
difficult. It got so bad that the county of Los Angeles passed a law about 3 years ago
Mhm.
where they regulate those now. You can't be so many in the neighborhood. You got to be so much distance from each other, and there's regulations on those now because
Yeah.
they're taking advantage, and people would fall into this trap. Oh, I need a loan, and they never get out of it, and because they couldn't,
Yeah.
and it's just pile up, which makes the problem even worse.
It is. And it's hard. It's hard getting out of it, man. You get one, then you get the next one. Then by the time you get the next one, like half of your check is already gone because you paid for that one. So now you got to get into another. They know what they're doing.
Oh no, they know what they're
It's
doing.
good. It's a good business to be
Well, on that end.
On that end, yeah.
But on the other end, I think it's taking advantage of the
It
raza,
is.
and especially they're the ones that really need it.
in. Right.
There's got to be a better way of providing, loans to people who are really in need.
Yeah.
Maybe when I become really wealthy, I'll do something like that.
I thought you told me you wanted to be a loan shark.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true. Let me know how it works out.
yeah, we'll see.
Might follow in your footsteps.
But I wouldn't be able to collect. I'll send you to go collect.
Let me know. I do some of those styles.
Also,
Some of those little garnishments.
mhm. you know, you already have a lot of experience with your son.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna go. I need your Xbox.
I'm here to collect.
I need your Xbox. Or what's the game that he has? Your
the new one that he bought. The Oculus.
The Oculus. I need your Oculus. Oh, we don't have one. Oh, what game do you have?
What games do you have? And sir, give me those shoes. They look pretty nice.
My collector.
And then I really got bad into credit, and then some of the stuff would go like debt collection. Like I did that a lot. I really screwed up when I was younger.
So you didn't pay, and then it would go into collection?
It would go into collections, and I ended up getting myself into so much debt that I couldn't pay one, I'd pay another, but then I couldn't pay that. And a lot
it's
of
a cycle.
Yeah.
Once you go into that, it's a trap because you can't literally get out. That's why I always tell people, you know, watch what you get into debt, and if you do get into debt, well, there's good. I think there's certain debt and bad debt. You know, the good debt, you know, maybe a house, maybe student loans, things that are going to make you money or, you know, what you're going to need. Bad stuff like getting debt for car stereo, stupid stuff. Yeah, taking the wife out to eat. You know,
that was really stupid. When I would take her out to eat. Yeah.
I used to know people would like, oh yeah, I put my vacation on credit card.
Yeah.
And they would go on vacation, come back, and they would take them 2 years to pay for it. It's like, no, that's a bad way of doing it.
It is. And the example that I had, or the examples that I had growing up, was get everything on credit. Build your credit.
Well, that's what people tell you.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in the barrio, yeah, you know, use a credit card, but they, you know, they'll say use a credit card, get points or get cash back, but they fail to look at what really needs to happen is pay it at the end of the month. You know,
I wasn't told that. No, and nobody ever told me keep it under 30%. So what would I do? Fuck it, max out. Vámonos. Well, balls to the walls.
And well, the thing is, not max it out or 30%. My rule is, what can you afford to pay at the end of the month? That's the rule is. Because if you could only afford 10% at the end of the month, why are you going to max it up to 30%?
Right.
You know, yeah, you could have $100,000 line of credit, but it wouldn't be wise to do it.
Right.
You know.
And that's the crap that I was in back in the day. Like, Jesus, dude, bad credit.
So you would tell your old self, hey, watch the spending, watch the credit.
Invest in stocks. Watch your credit. Don't fuck it up. Don't go into so much debt as you did. What about you?
Well, I thought about it. You know, I know we kind of touched on the subject last week, and well, I think the biggest thing that I would probably is start investing younger. You know, buy real estate a lot younger, and of course the stock market. See, when I was in college, I wanted to buy stocks, but back then the only way of doing so, you had to get a broker, and it was a whole different process.
Yeah.
But now it's accessible to everybody. Easily. So it shouldn't be an excuse. The other day I bought a stock. It was $23. You know, you can buy one stock.
Yeah.
That's like 2 Starbucks or 3 Starbucks.
Yeah.
Depending what you get, but yeah. So now it's doable, and if you play it right, you could do it. And that when I started buying stocks is when you know, you were able to do it online. You were able to do it without a broker.
Right.
And it's worked out for me. It's worked out quite a bit. You know, diversified, meaning buying different types of companies. And so yeah, I think I would want to do that a lot younger and do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
The other thing I probably would do is, or recommend is to myself, if somebody who has made it gives you advice, pay attention.
So that was something that I wrote down too. Take advice from somebody who's already been there. Yeah.
And, you know, I remember I got the opportunity of a very wealthy man right when I was starting college. I used to help his wife with computers, and one day he gets home. He goes, "Hey, he's starting in college. Give him some advice." And the guy's like on the spot. He goes, "What are you studying?" I go, "Oh, I'm gonna be, you know." He goes, "No, whatever you do." I don't know what he was. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
He goes, "Whatever you do, just take some business courses, at least a minor in business, and just take it, because you'll use that no matter how at one point in your life." Didn't listen.
Right.
You know, 20 years later, like, I want to start a business.
Shit.
What I had to do, I had to go back to school.
Huh?
And at least learn the basics. What's the accounting, like the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement. Read the basics in the business. A little bit of marketing.
Sí.
If I had paid attention when I was in college, I would at least taken those 5 different courses and like, boop, okay, I'm good. I know what needs to be done. And even though you're not going to be a business major, I think if you know that the lingo, you could always apply those terminologies on your personal life.
Right. So. Well, what do you think it is about? Because I kind of feel like the same way, like with the younger people right now, they're not really interested in investing. There is a small amount of people that I have met, very small amount of people that are young, that are
tiny,
business minded. But the other people, you tell them like this, and like, no, I don't care. I'm like, all right, fuck it then. Was there something that he could have told you that would have made it easier for you, or made you want to listen?
I don't know. I mean, I did listen, but I never thought I was like, I'm not going to be a businessman.
Right.
I'm never going to. Why do I need it? I think that's what it was. And like, well, I want to be. I want to be an architect.
See.
I want to be an architect. I don't want to be a businessman. But thinking about it, I think what he could have said differently, like, look, no matter what field you, I mean, he kind of said it, but he goes, if you're going to be an architect, one day you might want to run your own office.
Right.
You should at least learn this to be able to communicate with your accountant. I think maybe he would have said it differently. And, he caught me off guard at the same time because, it was like one of those instant moments. And like, but thinking about it, I never forgot it. And, now I tell the people the same thing, learn the basics.
Right.
That, and what else would I tell my younger self? Plan for the future. Do plan your investment, your retirement early on. Start investing for that.
Right.
But also plan for the fun stuff.
That's true.
Plan for the fun stuff, and that keep that balance.
Right. Because
it
can't be out work, huh?
No, it can't be out work.
You gotta have some play in there.
And then you gotta enjoy your family, because family grows really quick. I think that's one thing that I spend a lot of time with my family, but I think I should have spent more time.
More time, huh?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I struggle with, that I hated going to grad school and my kids being young, and I hated it because grad school is very time consuming, ¿verdad? So I was doing the weekends, still working during the week, and I hated it because I'd go to my kids' sports and I'd be typing papers.
But at least you were there, though.
I was there, but then my kids would turn around and they would see me on the computer, or dad is studying, or dad is doing this. And I look back and I'm like, dude, I should have maybe done something different.
To at least give them that hour.
Yeah. Time management.
Yeah.
There were times that I would sacrifice at night so I could have during the day, but I look back and I'm like, dude, I could have fucking done a little bit better.
It's a sacrifice sometimes. Sometimes we do have to sacrifice for a short period of time to get to where you need to be, to get more time.
Right.
Because now you're out of school, you got more disposable time, right?
Right.
So sometimes you have to figure out, is it worth it? Is it going to be worth it at the end?
Right.
And okay, 2 years, it's not a long time, but it is a long time in the kid's eyes.
Yeah.
But I think, in my perspective, I did spend a lot of time with my family, my son, but I wish I would have spent more time.
Right.
The days that I got home, I had 2 jobs at one time, and then still go manage apartments, and then he would come, hey, I want to play, and like,
not right now.
I'm tired,
Yeah.
And sometimes I would pay, but still, I wish I would have done it. Like, you know what? I'll crawl and play, but yeah, because then kid grows up and now he's busy.
Yeah.
We
now
play.
You want to play.
I want to play now. I'm like, no, I'm busy. I got homework.
Payback, Obi.
But I still beat him though.
Sí. Yeah. Ándale. You still give him his chingadazos. Oh man.
No, I beat him. We used to play basketball.
Oh, beat him in sports. I thought physically. I was about to call Child Protective Services, man.
I don't do the mafia style.
I have a question for the two of you. You guys mentioned investing when you were younger, but in reality, would you guys be able to convince yourself, or if somebody tells you, "Hey, you need to invest"? I
wouldn't tell them need to invest. I'm telling them, "Hey, you want to make money." If somebody tell me, "Hey, you want to know how to make money? This is what you got to do." Because if I tell you, "Hey, you just want to invest," what are you gonna do?
Right. Like,
okay. But that's for old people.
Right.
But like, did you have, like, maybe you might not have had the same money as today. Maybe instead of spending it going out, trying to convince yourself to invest that, Would you be able to in reality? It's a question for the two of you.
I think so because I mean, personally, we were able to save quite a bit, but put it in a savings account. Well, maybe not put the whole thing in a savings account. Maybe put some in a mutual fund or a stock. I think that should have been the approach that we could have done differently. Maybe. I don't know.
So I'm thinking about my younger self, and I think for me, what would have worked would have been how you mentioned it. Do you want to make some money? Let me show you how. Right? I'd be skeptical. I'm like, what do you want? How much are you going to charge me? But maybe because I didn't have any examples of anybody. When I look back, nobody in my family invested. Not my mom, not my dad, not my uncles. Or at least they didn't mention it. But it might be a cultural thing where we're talking about the older Hispanics. No te dicen, hey, invest here, o tengo tanto dinero.
Well, how could they tell you? They live check to check.
Yeah.
My parents, my grandparents, they lived basically. I mean, they saved, but nothing to, I guess, to have what we call disposable income, where you could invest.
Sí.
I know I try to encourage people, hey, invest, but hey, no puedo. I'm pretty making rent. I'm pretty, where am I going to find money to invest?
Right.
I think that's the biggest challenge, especially coming from the hood. How do you do that? You got bills, you got
a lot of, yeah.
And it's easier said than done. Now that we're older, like, dude, you could have, but shit. I think if you would have done differently, like, okay, instead of going to the movies every week, miss one movie and go buy a stock.
The other thing I think would have helped también was if that person like, hey, I'll guide you, like hand holding, pretty much the whole process. That would have helped for me.
Yeah.
And I
like
think
back then, did you guys know what stocks were or investing at all?
In high school, for us, we had a class and they touched upon it. That's why when I was in college age, I wanted to do it, but then like, where do you go? There was no they talk about, there's a stock market, this is the way it works, but it was very brief, but they didn't tell you how to go about doing it. All I know, you got to go get a broker. And I know there was a couple of friends that we talked about it, like, where are we going to go? And in most brokers, you had to invest at least, it was like $10,000. Yeah, like, I could pretty have a car, like one gas.
I could pretty fill it up with gas. And I remember those two, even like the textbooks when I would read them, because I took an accounting class with them for managers. I was like, I don't understand what the fuck. Nothing. I don't understand anything. I got to fail or a D. Well, I don't even need a class, but whatever. And they would give you examples that were like out there. If you invest in this savings account at an 8% return, like, bro, tell me where I can get the savings account at 8% return.
Well, first of all, where do you go get one, right?
Yeah.
Go to the bank.
8% return savings? Tell me right now, bro, because I ain't never seen a fucking savings account 12, that percent. But I don't remember anybody ever mentioning anything about stocks at a younger age. Nada.
When did you first learn about stocks?
I probably got caught in interest about 2005, 2006. And I had looked at a company. I mean, it was a brick and mortar. You had to go in there. It wasn't online. You had to submit like an application, go in there, talk to them. Y todo. I didn't do it. But when I really got into it was at the age of 33, where I had one of my coworkers.
I thought you were 20. Oh, okay, never mind.
Dang, I got caught lying. Called me out of my bullshit. At 33, I'm
sorry, I missed it.
I'm foreshadowing what's going to happen at the age of 33.
The future.
I had a coworker. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but one of my coworkers, Myra, she's out of the blue. She just said, "Hey, Mike, are you investing in your 401k?" And I told her, I was like, "No." She's like, "Why not?" And I said, "Because I don't know, it's bullshit." I said, I can't afford anything. I had just finished grad school and I was just barely making a good, like, I consider that to be a good amount.
But that's typical. Everybody that starts working about the 401k and getting the matching and stuff like that, the first thing everybody says, "Oh, I can't afford it."
Yeah.
I need to pay rent or I need to do that. But what a lot of people fail to tell people, and this is how I learned, and says, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." It's pre-tax.
Right.
And what does that mean? It means basically before you get a certain amount, before Uncle Sam takes his share and the state takes its share, and they take all those deductions. Well, that's they take the your investment or whatever you're gonna put aside for
right.
401k. They take it in that portion. And what happens is, okay, so let's say you made $1,000, right? And they're gonna take $500 Uncle Sam, right? So if you do it pre-tax or before they take it away, well, instead of making $1,000, now you're only making, let's say you invest $200,
Right.
you're making $800, so you're taxed on $800. So it's pre-tax. That's why.
And I found that out afterwards. After she told me, what happened was, she's like, Mike, even if you could just invest $20, but it was her approach that really opened me up, because she wasn't rude, she wasn't mean. She was, I think, to be honest with you, it was motherly. ¿Me entiendes?
She older, younger?
I think she's a few years older than me, so maybe she's like 26. I don't know. I think she's a little bit older than me, a little bit.
She's Raza too, right?
Yeah, she is.
Maybe that's what it was. She figured like you want to mentor the younger people.
Right. And so she was telling me, she's like, Mike, even if it's just $20 a paycheck. And I was like, whatever. I still didn't invest. When I left that company, maybe a year into my new job, I get a letter from my previous employer's 401 broker company, whatever the hell. And they said, you have X amount with us.
But you did invest though.
I didn't invest.
Then what?
What happened was the company was investing for
they
me.
They were doing the contribution.
The contribution. They were matching
Nothing.
mine at 0%. Somehow I ended up with a good amount. It wasn't a lot, but it was to me. I was like,
it opened your eyes though.
Yeah. So now every so often, I give Myra an update. I was like, hey, thank you very much. After a couple of years, I think I went back and I told her, like, thank you. I said, look, this is where I'm at now because of you. You opened my eyes up to this. So every so often we share like stock information, right? She's the one that opened it up for me. And then the other person that I thank is also you. Because I approached you, I think, once I started working on my new job. And I was like, hey, Danny, can you show me? Can you teach me? And you opened your books up. You showed me. This is what I have. I was really amazed when you did it. Like, oh, shit. He's a Hispanic. He's 5 years older than me. And he's still fucking... he still opened his books up, showed me. And I was like, holy shit.
You're not the only one that's... there's a couple people at work, same thing, Hispanics, younger. They say, hey, I'm going to do the 401k. How do I do it? I print my thing out. Here's how I do it. This is... And explain a little bit about it and just, do your own research.
See.
But, key is diversify. You're young, be aggressive.
Right.
More than me. And I think they do it. I mean, I never follow up. Hey, how's your investments going? But I'm hoping they listen.
That's what I want to do. So, to what you're telling, I kind of tell people like, this is why you want to do this, and this is it. And I explained kind of how I did it last time. I go for the 1 year, 3, 5 since inception, the rate of returns, and I explained to them like, this is this, this is this, this and this. If you click on this, you'll see where they're investing in this mutual fund and this. They're like, holy crap! So I want them to know, and not just do it because I'm seeing like this.
You're telling them, yeah. I mean, it's a good approach.
Right.
But do you show them your progress, how you did it, or you just kind of...
I show them my progress, but it's kind of hard because my salary is higher than theirs. ¿Me entiendes? So when I say I'm contributing, let's suppose 5%, my 5% is different from their 5%. ¿Me entiendes? So I have to tell them that up front too.
But do you also show them that, that pre-tax is not going to make a big difference on their check?
Right.
I think that's key. I think if you explain to them, look, because it's pre-tax, your check, instead of you're investing $200, but really, and your check, the difference is only $25 or $10. And I think when you point that out, people are like, oh, really? And I go, try it for a month.
Right.
And if it doesn't work out, then you stop.
Yeah.
And most of the people say, you know what, I did it, and they keep it.
Right.
And they start doing more.
And that's what I've taught somebody también. I was like, look, move it from like whatever. Let's suppose you have 6%, move it to 7. See how much it's going to deduct from your paycheck. It was like $37. They're like, oh shit, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, keep it if you want. It's up to you. I don't know.
What I tell people is like, hey, if you're living comfortably or enough with the salary, when you get a step increase or a raise, like a union raise or whatever, you have unions or whatever, you get a raise,
right?
You invest that.
I remember that. Yeah.
That makes a difference too.
It does.
A big difference.
And I've taken your advice, your suggestions. I don't want to say your advice because you're not a financial.
I'm not financial. Yeah, I'm not a financial. We're not financial advisors.
Yeah, just with the financial stories.
Yeah.
And
you took my story.
I took your story, ran with it, wrote my own story. I did do a lot of research. After you kind of like, Myra started with planting the seed. You're the one that watered it. I maintained it. Don't expect anything in return. Pero
when you hit that $1 million mark, I better get some steak.
go get a steak.
Okay.
little 1-inch steak.
Yeah, I better get a nice dinner. No, I'm just kidding.
That one steak I told you about that the guy spent.
I better expect a meal cooked like that guy.
Dude, I'll pay for you like that. What did I tell you? It was like $195 for that steak.
Hey, if you're making $1 million, hey,
Yeah, it's nothing.
I think I'm worth it.
And so what I did, you are worth it, Annie, to your wife. And so then I started doing a lot of research, and I actually and I started hustling hard with my 401k. And every so often I check them with you. I check every single day how are my stocks doing. September, I kept seeing everything go down, but it's typical of the stock market in September to take a dump. Now it's jumping back up, and I jumped up, I think, 3%. I had dropped down like 3 or 4%. Now it's back up 3% more. I got an email from my 401 brokerage company, whatever the hell it's called. And they said, you're on track. You're doing a good job. Shit, it's the only job I know how to do.
Hey, you might be able to become a financial advisor on the side, you know? Get your certifications and vámonos.
Under the table? Hey. Yeah.
No, I think that's good. If we could teach the younger generation, especially now that we got more Latinos coming out of the hood, going to school, getting a little better jobs, teach them how to invest.
Right.
How to make their money grow from nothing to, live comfortably. I think that'll be good. I think that'll be something that at the end, when we're getting that casket or whatever going to happen to the end, somebody says, you know what, I'm ruling the life because of you guys.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they're going to throw money in your casket.
Wow, that'd be nice too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Go down with your money. Somebody else's money. What I'd like to do one day is mentor somebody and follow their financial progress. I'm doing that with one person right now, a family member. She's happy with it. I was able to convince her, like, hey, invest. Don't look at the examples.
But how do you get somebody, because, to get somebody to open up, how did you do that to that family? Did you approach that person, or that person approached you?
I approached her, and she works for this company, large company. And I told her, hey, your company is going to start offering a 401k. I just read it in the news. So I started explaining to her. She's like, oh, but I think she said she doesn't qualify because she's part-time. And I said, look into it, and if not, open your own stocks, do your own investments. She actually did it. She had money saved aside. She's like, hey, I dropped $700. I was like, holy shit.
Serious?
Yeah.
To start, yeah.
And she started, I think she follows up, and she'll tell me, like, hey, this, and I told her, prepare for September. It's usually the month where it's going to take a shit. Afterwards, it's going to go up. She actually texted me yesterday, and she said, hey, my stocks are up. She's like, it took some dips, now it's coming back up.
But you know what I find interesting, that when you start talking about money with friends like that didn't happen back when I was growing up. We always talk about, cars, or
right.
We were musicians, so about bands and stuff like that. Never about money, but probably because we didn't have any money. But I think that's good with the new generation. If you could get a group of people where money becomes a subject and how to make more money, like stocks. Because I have a group of friends that when we meet, hey, how's this stock, or did you buy this stock? Right. It becomes it's almost like a network of people, like which stocks are coming out, keeping an eye. Hey, did you hear about this one company or whatever? And I think that's cool.
And that's what I do with Myra every so often. We're like, hey, what stocks are you hearing about? I got another friend in Chicago, man. He's like, hey, what stocks do you know about that are coming up? I'm like, well, don't call me Martha Stewart, but this is where I'm looking at because of this, and this, and that. I don't have trader information. You don't say nada. Yeah. I'm just doing research. That's all I'm doing. And every so often, you and I think we talk about after the show, like, hey, what did you hear? Right?
Yeah.
So we do that. And I do it, but I want people to do it on their own también. ¿Me entiendes? Because I have people tell me, which ones do you think? I'm like, I don't know, bro. Fuck. That's what I'm looking at. This is why.
I think you should encourage them to, hey, you do some research. Let me know what you're buying, because we never know. I think people think differently, and I think that becomes when you get a better portfolio.
Right.
Because they have different ideas of what companies they would invest and why they would invest. And I think by talking to people, if you buy the same stocks that everybody's buying, eventually you're going to get a really diversified portfolio.
Right. And that's what we're looking at right now. So I'm entering that one person. I'm hoping I can get more people, more younger ones. But
how can we do that? Maybe we could find a way of, I don't know, do a young, and maybe through this channel figure out, hey, be mentors to multiple people. Hey, you want to learn how to invest or how to progress? I mean, I'll be happy to help.
So I was thinking, this is an idea that I had, and I don't know, I think a lot of people like incentives. ¿Me entiendes? They like something for free. So I was thinking maybe getting some younger folks and be like, hey, I'll give you like $50 for you to invest in your first fucking stock or lo que sea.
They won't do it. They're gonna take it and go to a party.
That's so that there would have to be a contract on that. I mean, like, hey, we're gonna fucking invest, but it has to go to this.
The only way you get them to match it,
I tried that with somebody.
and they know. Because I'll you invest $50, I'll give you the next $50, or you could invest $100, but you got to keep it there for next amount.
I did it with somebody. I think they did it. They matched it. But I think I needed to clarify and let them know, like, continuously, I'll match it for you.
Also, you would continue giving.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, I would have done it for this person.
Yeah, high roller
for this person. It is what it is. Yeah. For this person only, not for friends and nothing like that. For this
I wonder if maybe we could do that. Go back to the hood and maybe, I don't know, say, hey, anybody want to learn how to invest, and give live audience. Maybe it's something we could.
How many people do you think we could get if we did it? If we offered somebody like, here's $25, here's $50.
I don't know if we offer money, but at least maybe I don't know.
Offer them something. I'm thinking people would think, oh, they're trying to sell us something. So I always tell people upfront, I'm not selling you anything. I'm not offering anything. I'm just,
ya llegó este que me va a vender.
Este güey con sus fucking pyramid scheme. Quiere algo. He said, want me to buy something. And he's going to want me to recruit somebody else. And I was like, no, I'm not selling you anything up front. I just want to let you know I'm not selling shit.
I think you got to come up with a good plan, and maybe we get some business owners to sponsor us.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, and go to the barrio and say, hey, instead of wanting to sell drugs or doing the fast way of making money, teach them how to make money a different way.
For long term, yeah.
Teach them how to not blow their money and stuff. And
that'd be good.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. I mean, maybe we could brainstorm a little bit after the shows and figure out how we could get that working. I'm down for that.
I'd love
maybe
that.
we get a group of people, like you said, you have the group of people that are investing. Maybe we could do something. Go back to the barrio.
That'd be true. I'd love that. If we could do that, get some people out. Hey, vámonos. Let's help you guys out for the future.
And we'll see these people making billions, and then
they're gonna surpass us, huh?
Which is good.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I think if I mentored somebody and they're doing better off than me, that's good, because at least I know I did something right.
Right.
Or at least two right, that they took it and did better than me.
And they're gonna remember that. I remember Myra. I thank Myra a lot. Every so often I tell her thank you. I don't tell you thank you enough. Pero, I mean, shit, look where we're at now, trying to even progress even further.
Which, yeah. And I think you will. I think you're on the right track to where you should be way better than me when you get my age. I mean, you'll be way financially sound, secure, if you continue the path that you're doing, investing. I think you should at one point start buying multifamilies to get the tax write-offs, because you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, we're looking into that.
Yeah, and start small, but eventually, go in there solid. And I think by the time you get to my age, you'll be a high roller.
We're looking into it. When we're giving ourselves, my wife and I think we said 2 years to buy rental property. Yeah. But we want to stick to that plan to make sure. Right now, we're gonna hit up a lot of debt.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the year, we're gonna be able to pay off a good amount of debt.
Just pay everything off, and
no Christmas gifts for anybody.
Well, take the allowance away from your kids, the $7.
Going into a side note, both of you guys mentioned buying real estate. I know back then a lot of the raza, at least maybe around you guys, might have not owned real estate. So how would you convince yourselves or somebody today that, like, okay, I'm gonna buy a house, but convince yourself to buy
I think in the
investment
barrio,
property?
In the barrio, I mean, the goal was always buy your house. I think that's always, I want to buy that. I mean, that's always been around. Now, buying rental properties, to me, it came to watching, my aunt and uncle having rental income. So
that was an example for you?
For me, yes. Okay. But, yeah, there's family members, no, why would I want tenants? That's the other side of the family. Like, why would I want tenants? They only wanted their house, and that's it. Right. But I saw that they were getting ready close to retirement, and the rental income was going to supplement. And I go, oh, wait a minute, residual income. And that's when I said, like, I need to do that.
Right.
And that's when we did our first, bought our first rental income property. It's not, I mean, I'm going to tell you, it's not fun. And because you got to deal with tenants, and
Right.
there's the good
Different
tenants and
personalities,
different
huh?
personalities, and it's a challenge. It's not for everybody, but if you do get into it and you enjoy it, you learn how to deal with the tenants, and you learn how to deal with that. It's good business. It's a good source of income.
Growing up for me, we never, shit. I think we lived in a house, it was rented. That was at the age of 16. Y luego, my parents bought a house, I think like at 17, when I was 17. So we never had examples of people buying houses in our family. Like, oh, we grew up very poor. We grew up poor. Y entonces, when was it? And then my parents bought another house. Something happened with the other house. These are things they don't talk about. You know,
The parents don't talk about it.
They don't tell you.
You just move. We're moving.
well, I wasn't even living with them anymore. I had already
No.
moved to enter the military, but they don't talk about like this happened to this house. A lot of secretive stuff.
In the raza, especially if something goes bad, like you're losing your house
Sí.
or you went in foreclosure, you don't talk about it.
So then they bought another house, right? And it was a nice house, brand new house. And then 2008 hit,
No.
and they foreclosed on the house. And then I got a little bit more information. I was like, dude, how the fuck did you guys get this house? Making your wages. I didn't ask them, but I was just thinking like,
Well,
and I was like, holy shit. They were part of the whole
The
That-
subprime mortgage.
the subprime mortgage
Yeah.
crap. I was like, what the
buy houses with no down payment, and
They were making a lot of money. I was like, dude, you guys don't make a lot of money.
fake checks, fake everything. That's what
Yeah,
the real estate
fake documents, yeah.
That's people. These you have a side job. Oh, we'll put that down, and then you don't really have that side job.
And it wasn't until I think when I got married and I met my wife's side of the family, they were better off than we were. Way better off. Like, holy shit. My wife would tell you, she's like, I was fed with a silver spoon. I'm like, shit, you guys are lucky you guys had spoons. You know? I was stealing the sporks from school to eat. Y entonces, it wasn't, I think, till one of her aunts and uncles, they bought they moved from one city over up somewhere else. And I built up the courage to ask this guy, like, hey,
How do you do it?
¿cuánto pagaste por tu casa? He told me how much he paid. And I was like, holy shit. And I was grateful that he told me, like, I paid this much. I was like, holy shit. That started other stuff too. But for me, I don't think I would have bought real estate at a younger age. I think I would have thought, like, I can afford it.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's an impossible dream. But I think there's ways of doing it. Especially if you went like a military, there's loans and stuff like
Sí.
that. But I think one thing that I think I would have done different. I think on my very first property, instead of buying my house, maybe buying a rental, a duplex
Right off the bat.
off the bat. I think that's something I probably would have wanted done. My wife probably wouldn't agree with it, but I think as an investment, I think it would have been. I tell my son to do that.
Yeah.
Go buy a duplex or a fourplex, pay it off, then go buy your dream house.
Right.
Because at least that gives you an extra, 4 or 5 grand, 6, 8, 10 grand in a month. Depends on where it's at, where you pay.
I met somebody recently, I didn't meet them recently, but their parents recently bought a house. No, not a house, a quadruplex.
Mhm.
And he told me, he's like, dude, my dad brings in. I was like, holy shit. He told me how much he brings in.
Yeah. I had a coworker where his daughter graduated from college and she got married, and the very first property was a fourplex.
Shit.
I told him, hey, your daughter's on the right track. Because once they pay that off, or at least 50% down, they live on one unit, they rent
Yeah.
the other 3 units. As a newlywed, it's not a problem. Once you have kids, you want a house with a yard and
Right.
everything like that. But with your single, or you have just a spouse or a significant other, apartment building's not too bad.
That's something I mentioned to my wife too before we bought a house. I said, hey, we should consider maybe getting a duplex. We'll live in one. We'll have tenants in the back. Off the bat, she said, no, cállate. And I was like, oh, all right, fuck it, me callo.
Yeah.
You spoke.
I understand, because you lived in an apartment, so
Yeah.
go from apartment to another apartment, but now you're the owner and you got to deal with that.
See.
Yeah, it's not fair. I can see why.
And then where she works at, one of the medical doctors told her, he's like, I have my own house, but I started off with the duplex. I lived in the front, the tenants in the back. He convinced her. And I said, hon, this is what I told you.
He must be cuter than you, man.
With
He said something, he's like, oh.
with extra zeros behind his checks, And I was like, hon, that's exactly what I fucking told you. And she's like, oh.
But you didn't say it the way he said it, with the smile.
Ahí está. And the doctor said it. So she was like, I got to listen to the medical doctor. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. She didn't get the fuck out of there. She stayed there. She's still there.
Next time when you want her to say yes, get a picture of the doctor and just put a little mask.
That's true.
Yeah, she'll say yes to you. Everything.
And put MD right here.
MD.
I think another thing that I would do too is let myself know that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. I've met people, they're younger, and they're telling me like, I don't do this. I'm like, why? Because I'm afraid to fail.
Yeah, taking risk. That's part of doing business. That's one I'd probably agree with you. I think I would do the same thing. Start a business. There's nothing wrong with trying to start a business.
Right.
And if you fail, you fail.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in failing, as long as you did your best and you did your research, you did your homework. And sometimes businesses fail, but you should learn from that mistake.
Yeah. So I had a friend recently who was supposed to take something, an exam. And I said, hey, what's up with your exam? She's like, I'm avoiding it. I said, why? She said, I'm afraid to fail. And I told her, I said, but you already took that exam and you failed. So you know what it feels like to fail. Like, who cares? Fuck it.
Just do it.
That same exam, I took it 7 times before I finally passed it. I couldn't fucking give up on it. I had to.
Then becomes a challenge.
Yeah.
But see, that's the same thing. What happens with a lot of people. I wish one day I'm gonna open my business, but then they always one day, and that one day never comes.
Yeah.
I think if you really want to do something, you got to take that step and do it.
And also give yourself a deadline. So that's why I told you, like, in 2 years, my wife and I talked about it, in 2 years we want to buy rental property.
Yeah.
And I want to stick to that plan.
Yeah.
And
hopefully by the time that market's down and you can get something cheap.
I hope
you
so.
might will.
I think we're looking out of state.
Out of state?
For rental.
But I don't know about that.
There's more, because I talked to you about it, and you told me like this and that and this and that.
When it comes to, unless you're going to pay for a property manager, and then you got to know if they're good property managers. I've had friends that bought out of state. At the end, they got out of the business because it's cheap.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, you're better off buying a single family home here and making that your rental, and then converting into a duplex, especially now with the new state law.
Yeah.
You're better off doing that.
Or maybe converting my garage, no?
Mm-hmm.
What are they called? The
ADUs.
ADU, that's
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then the state now passed a law where you get rid of the single family home, so you could split your lot into 4 lots now or something like that.
I might end up buying my neighbor's house, the host house. I might buy their house and make it one big mansion.
I don't know.
No, that's too much.
You don't want to overbuild in your neighborhood.
That's true.
You want to move up, mejor. Go to the side of the neighborhood.
The real Beverly Hills.
The real Beverly Hills.
Yeah. But I think that's it. I think that's what I would, those couple that I wrote down there.
I think one thing because I had, when I got the business bug, I think I should have pursued that. I've always for me it's been hard because I'm one step in making sure that I have a secure job to support the family, but at the same time I've always been side businesses, and I never took it okay, I'm gonna take the plunge, and probably my goal is maybe next year to just take the plunge. Okay,
maybe next year.
No,
maybe next year.
I have my plan. Get retire from my line of work and then go do another business and just focus on the business.
See, we're gonna have to do a vision board for you.
Yeah.
So you can stick to it. Here's your plan. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Vámonos.
No, I don't know. Maybe just manage all the units that I have, and that's it.
There it is. Buy a monopoly. Keep buying property.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of people get stuck of, I should have done this when I was younger, but I think, you can't change the past, so you just got to do what you got to do now, and
move forward.
You're never too late to start.
Move forward.
If you want to start a business at 60,
the second career.
Like Walmart, I think the
founder started late.
Founder started in his 60s.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He started late.
But there's a lot of successful businesses today that their first 5 or even 10 businesses fail.
See.
And until you get the right mentor, until you get to the right mix of whatever you can business be, then it becomes successful.
See.
But a lot of them don't happen boom.
And I think people don't realize that, or maybe a lack of information from somebody that has failed or didn't succeed or whatever. They don't share those.
I think if you want to avoid or at least lessen the impact of failing, get a mentor.
Yeah.
And people are willing out there to mentor you. If you approach some people, some people say, no, I can't give you all my secrets. But if you ask, hey, I'm starting a business, I want to know how to do it, some people are willing to do it.
Yeah,
I know. I mentor people how to start businesses. They need to. So
I agree.
Yeah.
If one person doesn't work, there's another person that might help you.
Yeah, and that also, when you're taking risks, same thing goes with personal life. Just hey, you want something, go for it.
Yeah.
Worst thing you can do is say no, or always ask.
Some people are afraid of rejection.
Yeah, but that's part of part of life. And some businesses, you'll go through a lot of rejection before you get a signed contract, which is okay.
Yeah.
Rejection's okay. You just gotta look at it as part of the business.
I've heard that from successful people, and I've talked to very highly successful people because I'm famous myself, and they've constantly mentioned that they failed several times before they finally made it. Even I think there's a story about Rocky that every play or every acting agency out in New York.
On the Rocky movie,
yeah, they all turned him down until finally I think one person took a risk on him, and
there it is. The rest is history.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it is. You got to keep knocking on doors, but sometimes you got to be realistic. Some people are like, I'm going to shoot for the stars, and like, dude, no,
the wrong stars.
Yeah. Well, I think our younger selves, and hopefully somebody could learn from our, mistakes or the good things that we did, and they could take that and and do better. Yeah.
And Danny's opening for mentors, mentorees.
Yeah.
Mentees.
Yeah. Anybody who wants a mentor, I'll be happy to mentor.
You charging $50 an hour, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not gonna charge.
Nice stuff. Free 99.
Just 20% of your business.
20%, whatever. After they make $1 million, then they can start.
Once you hit the goal of $1 million, entonces start kicking back.
They start, a little bit. That'll be the contract. Fine print. Read the fine print.
Cool.
Okay. Well, I think that was a good discussion. Next time we'll see what other questions we come up with.
Follow up with that, yeah. And then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Keep sending those emails, those questions, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. If you want to hear more stories like this, please click the like button and subscribe.
Find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.